Education is an ever-evolving field. The proper resources need to be in place to ensure that we're providing the best education for our children with exceptionalities. This year, the Council for Exceptional Children is bringing together thousands of educators to share in the latest in special education. CEC TV is here to cover it all, and it starts right now. Hello, and welcome to our second episode of the 2020 CEC Annual Meeting. My name is Ayana Berkshire, and I'm here to bring you all the latest at this year's meeting. Today, we'll explore the relationship between politics and policy, speak to the authors of the Survival Guide for New Special Education Teachers, and take a close look at the programs in the U.S. doing excellent work in special education. Let's go ahead and kick off today with some policy talk.
So this new committee that the CEC board approved in the fall is the Policy Steering Committee. And it's an exciting new phase. CEC has always been a leader in the federal policy arena when it comes to special education, children with exceptionalities, the teachers who serve them, and the administrators. And the policies that CEC has over the years promoted have really been at the forefront of, protecting and advocating for those children. This steering committee is a way to really do a much more systematic scan of policy issues. We'll also be working closely with CEC policy staff to engage members in a wider discussion and input into these policies.
We have at CEC a couple of ways that are already built into our system for members to be active. The Legislative Action Center is probably the easiest. It is an online platform. It is right on our website. If you use the drop-down tab at the Policy and Advocacy tab on our homepage, it'll take you right to the Legislative Action Center, where you can look through the issues that we've already created letters for to write to members of Congress. All you have to do is input your address, and we can find your member for you. You can read our letters, you can edit them, and just send them in, and it's about a 2-minute operation from start to finish. It's really simple.
Policy is obviously it's most important at the grassroots, where it actually lands. The committee will help recommend CEC's policy priorities. We will obviously help identify and react to new policies that may need endorsement by CEC, or at least input. And then there are a number of quick turnaround things in the policy world, like, are you going to sign on to this letter as an organization? And CEC's brand is powerful, and we want to make sure that we have a group, a very diverse group, by the way, that's really making those decisions.
I think that the most important thing for our members to understand is that their expertise does not need to lie in policy or in advocacy. Their expertise is in the work that they do every day. So we create information for them to bring to the Hill that actually is the policy ask, or if they're at home, to bring to elected officials. But what the officials really want to hear is why those policy asks that we've already created matter. Our members can talk from their own experiences, from their own observations, and it adds color to what we're asking for, and it adds a lot of power to our asks.
The Survival Guide for the First-Year Special Education Teacher provides strategies and resources that can be integrated into the school district induction and mentoring programs. Let's hear from the authors and see why you need to have this book. I'm here with Catherine and Clara, the co-authors of the Survival Guide for New Special Education. Hi, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us today.
Such a pleasure to talk with you today, and you've got such an exciting book to talk about. I'm really excited. So what is the survival guide for the first year of special education teachers?
Survival Guide is just that. It is a survival guide. I think that your first year teaching can be extremely difficult, and it was created from CEC and their investment in the field to try and help those teachers.
Right.
So it's really provides a lot of resources that are available.
And not just for teachers. So one of the great things about the book is that it also helps administrators and coaches and mentors, everybody who's involved with working with brand new teachers. And we know that teachers statistically, especially special education teachers, leave the field at greater numbers, and that was upsetting to us as well. And so when we first started looking at the book, what do teachers need those first couple of years? Those touchstones, like where do I get my mail? Where do I find information? Who do I talk to about this? So we have nuts and bolts, and then we have procedural things, and then we have the federal guidelines, the HLPs and evidence and all that good stuff. But it really was a touchstone for teachers so that I had one teacher, I'm sorry, I'm going to go on with this. I had one baby teacher, new teacher, who carried it with him everywhere he went because all the acronyms were in the back of the book. All the acronyms, that we use in special education. Well, probably not all of them, but most of them. And he said, oh my gosh, I didn't know what they were saying at the IEP meeting, and I just flipped through and I was like, oh, I know what that is, right? So it was great, that confidence.
Yeah, so it sounds like an incredible tool book for
Correct.
new teachers as well as administrators and those trying to help them. What are resources for first-year teachers to get in touch with anyone outside of the book?
We have, it's evidence-based practices are noted, and like Clara said, the high leverage practices too. So there's a lot of resources that teachers don't even know are available to them, provided by the Department of Education or a variety of states that have free resources for them.
Websites.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's part of the beauty of the book, is it's really a repository of those free resources that so many teachers are inventing on their own, but all they have is a click away and they can access them.
And then what do you hope that this book will help accomplish for both teachers and students?
Our focus, of course, is on the new teachers who are getting started, and of course their impact in the classroom is huge. We know that teachers impact students and their growth and development and learning in so many ways. And without those strong structures and that confidence and the ability and to be in the classroom and ready for certain situations, there's a stress there, right? This is an opportunity for teachers, mentors, coaches, districts to have a tool to help support their teachers, then again, who are in the classroom working with students with disabilities and bringing forth their best, right? Because it's all about the students, we know that. When we were planning the book, our focus was what's happening in the classroom then? What are these teachers doing in the classroom, and how can we help them so that the students are getting everything they need and have the best teacher in that room?
And I was going to piggyback too. I'm a parent of a child with a disability, so from the family perspective and the child perspective, we need good people. And it's really hard to get them, and like Clara said, to retain them as well. From a parent perspective and a child perspective, you can see where there are issues in terms of not understanding processes or not having all the resources or knowledge. And hopefully that this book can bridge that gap.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're so very welcome.
Researchers, teachers, graduate students, and children are all gaining ground in the unique ecosystem designed by the experts at Ohio State University. Under one roof, those engaged in research practice, policy, and training work together to make a change in the American education system. And the results are stunning. Let's take a closer look.
All of the research on learning and brain development tells us that the earliest years are the most important window of time for children. This knowledge should drive every decision we make about how to care for children, how we train teachers, and how we invest our public dollars. At our centers, we conduct cutting-edge research while staying grounded in our community. Our hope is to impact policy, practice, and the field of teacher training. And we've developed a unique ecosystem here in Columbus to do just that.
This ecosystem is built on strong partnerships. We are co-located in a school that serves 100 children from birth to 5 years.
We have scientists and faculty who conduct research directly in the school, and early childhood teachers who share their vital perspective with researchers as they design their studies.
All of this is happening under one roof, in which teachers, practitioners, and influencers work side by side. We're breaking down silos to do the next generation of science in early childhood.
How this research is disseminated also matters. Crane research has been translated into practical curriculum and resources for teachers and parents that's used around the world. Locally, the team engages state and local policymakers with this information as they consider policy reforms that impact young children.
We want our research to make a difference in the lives of young children.
The Schoenbaum and Crane centers are located off campus, directly in the community. The school serves a diverse population of young children.
Teachers and researchers from the College of Education and Human Ecology are conducting research and being trained in a high-quality setting that resembles the real world. They will move into their careers with a deep understanding of what it takes to serve all children.
I really want to be a teacher when I graduate, but I also want to be an education lawyer. And so working at the Crane Center has really given me the opportunity to see firsthand the impact of policy and research and practice has on community life.
Only the big ones go in.
We're proud of the training that occurs in EHE, including teacher training, including clinician training, our leadership training. We have some of the best experts in the college. They're recognized by the state and worldwide. But I think what really sets us apart is our intentionality. I think we've been very intentional about diversity and inclusion efforts. And this includes not just adding faculty, but also intentionality around that diversity and inclusion with recruitment and retention of students and also our staff. And I think that's what really sets us apart. It's not just necessarily about adding those numbers, but this is a vital part of our mission, our vision, but also our strategic plan, and we're really proud of that.
The College of Education and Human Ecology at The Ohio State University is a land-grant institution, which means we take very seriously our charge to engage the world around us and to conduct our research in the spirit of public service.
All of us at the Schoenbaum Family Center and the Crane Center for Early Childhood Research and Policy are fundamentally committed to the idea that birth to 5 are the most important years of the human lifespan.
I have had 4 babies come through here. My youngest son, he's 4 now. He is doing really excellent. They nurture his things that he likes to do specifically, and they engulf that into their curriculum. And I think that's totally awesome. They give them the base, you continue it at home. They got good opportunities, whatever they want to do, I think they can be it. They can do it, absolutely.
Safe and Civil Schools, a consultant company, provides in-service programs throughout the country. Their trainers work with numerous large and small school districts, and we have the chance to speak with the director of the company to learn more about positive behavior support.
Positive behavior support really is kind of a broad, generic term that is an outgrowth of 100 years of behavioral psychology. We have to look at behavior as observable. We can't observe thoughts, we can't observe feelings, but we can observe behavior. Over time, those of us who have studied behavior learn to call it behavior support, which is basically saying We need to do things to support kids to learn positive behaviors, and that name is now not controversial. Now, within positive behavior support, part of it has to involve corrections for inappropriate behavior, but that can't be the bulk of the efforts to help anybody learn to behave better. The way we look at it in our approach, which is Safe and Civil Schools, there are 5 variables that you should work with to manipulate the variables to try to help shape positive behavior. It's the acronym STOIC, and so it's first how we structure the environment. We also have to teach behavioral expectations, and we have to teach them with precision. The O of this STOIC acronym is we have to observe student behavior. The I is interact positively. The I also includes what's called behavior-specific praise, which means especially when you're exhibiting a behavior in a positive way that is perhaps the antithesis or opposite of a behavior you've struggled with. The C is we do have to correct misbehavior. And our number 1 tip on the correct misbehavior is you can never belittle anybody. No correction should involve denigration of why did you make that choice or why would you do that. It's the corrections have to be respectfully applied.
The League School and the Joan Finchel Therapeutic Nursery are the children's components of the League Education and Treatment Center, which has been committed to improving the lives of children and adults with psychiatric and developmental disabilities for over 65 years. Let's take an in-depth look at their work.
The League Education and Treatment Center was founded in 1953 as the first day school in the United States, serving children who could not be served in other educational settings due to their extreme behavioral, social, emotional, and psychiatric difficulties. Our work at the preschool is all about understanding the individual child, teasing out the puzzle of their learning.
This is a really critical time in child development during the preschool years when the brain is being shaped by positive experiences such as having supportive caregivers and exciting experiences, and also in response to negative experiences such as abuse or neglect. So it's really important that we intervene at this age when the brain is being shaped, because we know that social emotional skills are laying the foundation and one of the greatest predictors of success in later life.
Every child has a team that works with them, and that includes a treatment coordinator who's a mental health person, a speech therapist, an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, a creative arts therapist, a teacher, teaching assistants. So there are a lot of people who have their eyes on every child.
So the focus of dance movement therapy is to focus on meeting the social emotional needs of the children from a movement place. So we focus on nonverbal development and skills, social emotional competency, body awareness, where they are in space, where their friends are in space, how they're exploring movement and how that helps them with development overall as children.
Yes! One more time. Occupational therapy is so important for this population in regards to individuals' independence, in regards to self-care, which would be dressing and feeding and toileting. Otherwise, also fine motor, using hands to manipulate objects, opening and closing things, writing, reading as well, so recognizing letters and formation, even their own name and their abilities in order to get them ready for kindergarten.
What's your favorite part of the day?
When I say hello to my teachers.
Really? You like your teachers here? How come?
They help me learn and take care of me.
I'm Irene. My son is Levi. He's 5 years old. We've noticed a lot of improvements with Levi here at the League. He is just able to self-regulate. He's just learned all sorts of coping skills, and I think that'll benefit him in the public school system that we're hoping to enter. I don't think he would have been able to do that without 2 years here at the League.
The interdisciplinary approach that we use at the League School is really a combined educational and clinical way of helping students address the very, very complex issues that they have. The team is made up of both mental health workers as well as a multitude of special education teachers, and everyone's different theoretical perspectives creates a framework and a support for children so that every single student gets exactly what they need to meet their individual goals.
In the elementary school classrooms, our goal is to keep the students in the classroom as much as possible. And our students don't always have an easy time doing that. We try to plan our lessons so that they're very engaging for the students, many times hands-on activities. Our students don't always like to write. So the kids get to go up to the board and write, or they get to answer out loud. Sometimes they have an iPad where they can type it, to encourage them to be involved in the lesson in any way that feels comfortable to them.
At high school level, we're helping to prepare them for their future life as adults. So our vocational program, along with the therapy here, the supportive relationships of teachers and teacher assistants, and sometimes one-to-one behavior management paras, all of that comes together so that by the time a student is ready to leave here, they've had some work experience, they've learned academics in classrooms, and developed the confidence that they can do it and they can be successful in their life as adults.
At the League School, I feel like I've become a lot more mature. I used to, not be able to function a lot. Sometimes I'd throw tantrums. I wouldn't be able to do my work. But I think this place put me on the right path to help me deal with and handle all these new things.
I appreciate having my therapist because I can talk about things outside of League School. I get to talk to her about all different kinds of things that I'm going through, good things or bad things. One thing that the school has taught me is how to be understanding, how to be patient, how to be dedicated to something, and to continue without giving up and finishing.
To me, the League School is family. I mean, I think most of us think about it as a real family experience. Being able to be with these students on a regular daily basis, you kind of grow up with them, you spend time with them, you spend time with the families, and I would say it really is not the League School, it's the League School family.
At the League School, these students really feel nurtured, safe, and loved. And these are some of the key ingredients that are the most essential for their growth.
We always love to hear from attendees, and this time we want to hear from you to know what's been your most inspiring story while in the classroom.
I did have a student that I taught in middle school when I first started teaching to send me an email. He's now currently an accountant, so he's graduated from college. He just wanted to, reached out to me, said he'd been trying to find me, wanted to thank me for inspiring him. We did a financial literacy project in my math class, and he kind of said that inspired him to go on to go to college and just pursue higher education, and now he's an accountant. So I was very grateful to hear that he took the time out to first of all reach out to me, and I was actually able to make an impact on his life and just inspire him to go to college and become a productive citizen.
Just the other day, I had a student who was primarily communicated through screams or cries. Say a sentence the other day. I mean, just out of nowhere, say a sentence, and it was like one of those, do that again, let's replay it. And it was phenomenal. It was just that regeneration that you can get from just something that small, A sentence can cause that. So
I had a student with a stutter, and he had never been required to participate in those types of classroom activities, or they've always been modified for him in some way. But I really wanted to see him rise to the occasion and give it his all. And so on the very first classroom presentation, he got up in front of class and he had his note card, and he was struggling. He was having a really hard time getting the words out. And this, like I said, the cross-categorical class was just such a big range of abilities. The other students started standing up and clapping for him and saying, "You can do it, man. You got this. And he made it through his whole speech, and it was the first time that he had ever done anything like that. And it's just one of those memories that will never leave you as an educator.
As part of the school psychology program and the grant program, we're going into a school with majority English learners. One student in particular who's a recent immigrant he recently immigrated from Mexico. We were evaluating him, and it was just sort of nice to see the impact you can make when a lot of teachers felt like maybe this student needs to be reclassified into like maybe a special education classroom, or he's not really responding. But I think with the strategies we've been taught and all those things, we were able to identify that he's just really struggling in the English language. So we were able to kind of see and maybe give him more culturally inclusive education and lesson plans and things like that to help him really thrive in the environment.
I have my own kiddo who was born with a congenital muscular dystrophy, and one of the neatest experiences that I've ever had as a classroom teacher, aside from sitting in IEP meetings as a parent, was to bring her to my classroom at the university and have her talk to my students about what it's like to be a student with a disability and how to advocate for yourself and how to ask for resources and supports, and seeing my students make the connection that these are real people, that these are real students, and that they have the impact. So when she said, this is what I need and this is what it's like for me, the look on my students' faces to say, wow, I have this impact. I would say that is probably one of the neatest things I've ever gotten to do.
Thank you again for tuning in, and we hope you've enjoyed our show. We'll see you again tomorrow, and we'll learn the latest information being presented at the 2020 CEC annual meeting.